What's up guys, Chris here, and we have to talk. This is the Longsword build controversy. I'm making this video to explain why we recommended a set that does not give you the highest DPS if you calculate on a piece of paper, but rather a set that you can use comfortably and by that be able to be most efficient overall in your hunt. Because that is what all of us want at the end of the day. So before we begin, we have to be on the same page about what we are talking. There are two totally different sets. One, there is the best speedrun set, it's only for speedruns, and then there is the best non-speedrun set, and you use that for farming, and even the best speedrunners, if they play with the most efficient way, they are going to be using those non-speedrun sets for farming and for playing with friends and for every scenario where they are not doing a specific speedrun. We need to have a clear separation between those two since they are made for totally different purposes, and you need to be aware of the differences between those two sets if you want to play Longsword the most efficient way possible. First, we have the best speedrun set. Here, in the case of Longsword, this set is made for only speedruns. You can have high rank armor parts because of the fact that if you get hit too often or if you die because you have lower defense, it doesn't matter because you're gonna reset the hunt. You're gonna just abandon the quest and do it again. So this one can come with a lot of high rank parts because some high rank parts are still very good in Monster Hunter World Iceborne. You only play this if you can play flawlessly. In the case of Longsword, that means you know how to hit only the weak points, you don't get hit often, and you just know the weapon perfectly. The best speedrun set, it's not recommended for farming or for regular hunts. Even the best players, even the best speedrunners, they only use those speedrun sets for speedruns. Master's Touch specifically is possible to use with a weapon that has just a little bit of purple or white sharpness. It's just a little bit of sharpness, which is okay because the speedrunners, they know how to work with that because you're only hitting tenderized part all the time. This way you can maintain the sharpness even though it's just a little bit. Peak performance, it is possible in these sets because of the fact that you do not get hit, and if you get hit, you just reset and try again. That's why peak performance is really good for those sets. You do not necessarily need health augmentations for your weapon. Sometimes they can be used, however, if you want like a perfect speedrun and the best speedrun set, considering you know how to play the Longsword perfectly, you do not use health augmentations. Lastly, Impact and Evasion mantles, they are recommended. Rocksteady is an insanely good mantle, but if you want to have the best speedrun set, you are going with Impact and Evasion mantle, usually. So this one here, this set, all of these points, this is the best meta set, the most efficient tactic available. But you need to play this weapon perfectly, and it is super hard. Even for the best players, they're not always able to be untouched. That's why you do only use peak performance here, because you reset if you get hit. But if you play normally, if you guys are farming stuff, I know most of you guys that are watching our videos, you guys are not speedrunners. That's why we do not recommend you peak performance all the time, because you guys can just comfortably hunt with your friends and you don't have to reset the freaking hunt all the time because you get hit. So let's talk about the best non-speedrun set. It's still the best non-speedrun set, so it's a good set, and this is what we recommend always to you guys. If we are making best endgame build videos, we're not recommending you guys speedrun sets, we're recommending you guys exactly these ones, the best non-speedrun sets. These are for farming and for helping friends and for casual playing. Even if you are a good player, if you're not making speedruns, you want to use these non-speedrun sets. These ones should only come with master rank armor parts, because you will end up having to fight tempered elder dragons and stuff like that. These freaking guys, they hit hard, and if you join the hunt with freaking high rank parts because they have a few more skill points or like one more skill point, it doesn't matter because you want the max defense. This is why this is the best endgame build it can be if you are farming. Always go with health augmentations. Health regen is always, or like 95% of the time, it's recommended because it might not give you on paper a higher DPS, but it leads to you not having to heal yourself up all the time. And if you count your DPS output through the entire hunt of a realistic scenario, you will be able to play more efficiently because it heals you up automatically. So even though it does not contribute to a number on paper that has a higher DPS, it is still recommended. Furthermore, if you play in multiplayer, flinch-free level 1 is mandatory for Longsword. There's many people with weapons that gonna stagger you all the time, and it's annoying as frick. Of course, flinch-free is one of those skills again that does not contribute to the DPS number on paper if you do a math calculation, but if you look at the actual real-life scenario of you playing in a hunt with many other people, you do want to use flinch-free level 1. It's an easy skill to get in there, and it's going to help you tremendously. Master's Touch is only recommended to use with enough sharpness. You're not gonna want to use Master's Touch with just a little bit of sharpness, because in a real life scenario you're not gonna be able to hit the tenderized monster part all the time. First of all, either the part of the monster is not always tenderized, or you hit accidentally parts that you do not want to hit, but it happens with Longsword, and in a normal hunt if you're farming it does happen, especially in multiplayer. Furthermore, there are some monsters like Glavenus where you want to go for the tail and for the head, depending on which part is the weak point, because the weak point changes throughout the hunt, and there's no way possible that both body parts of the monster are always tenderized. This way, you will end up hitting non-tenderized monster parts and you will lose sharpness. That's why what we do, if we recommend you guys the best Longsword endgame build, we choose one with a lot of sharpness and with Master's Touch. This way, you maintain it, no matter what happens, and in every scenario you can use it comfortably, and at the end of the day you will be efficient with that strategy. Furthermore, we do not recommend peak performance, but even the best Longsword players of you guys, if you're speedrunners, you know that you do get hits, and also speedrunners, they get hit, but they just reset their speedruns. But we don't want to reset and abandon the quest all the time if we're farming or playing with friends. Our friends are going to be annoyed if we're saying, oh sorry, I have to abandon the quest, I just got hit, my peak performance is gone. And you also can't heal up all the time. It's going to take a lot of time taking all these potions all the time. That's why we do not recommend peak performance, only in very rare scenarios. Otherwise, that's a skill for speedruns primarily. Health boost +3, we almost always recommend it, especially if you're doing stuff like Tempered Elder Dragons. Again, one of these skills that does not contribute to a higher DPS number on paper. However, it's just a simple 3-point skill like attack boost, but it does so much more, since it makes you so much more defensive and you can play more aggressively, and you just don't card. And if you don't card as often, you don't fail as many quests anymore. But if 4 players in a 4-player hunt, all of them don't have health boost +3 and they all got one-shotted by a Tempered Elder Dragon, well then, you fucking failed the quest, man. And it's not a speedrun, this is for the purpose of farming. You do not want to fail that quest, you just want to complete it, right? And health boost +3 is just so underrated sometimes. It's a really good skill for these sets specifically. And lastly, Rocksteady and Temporamancer are recommended here. So no impact or evasion mancer. Of course, you can use them if you will feel comfortably, if you're maybe hunting something where you know you can evade properly, or where you can make use of the impact mancer. However, Rocksteady and Tempora, it's just gonna make it so much easier for you not to die and not having to heal up all the time, not getting hit by certain things, because it happens, and they will make it so much easier that you can deal a lot of more damage at the end of the day. Guys, remember, of course you guys can use whatever you prefer. Please, if you want to use skills that we don't recommend, use them. If you want to have some fun, you use all the skills that you want to. You can use everything in the game, no matter if you're speedrunning or not. We were recommending the best set, and if other YouTubers say that we give you guys misinformation, that is just not true, because we really put some time into our videos. We think carefully about what we are doing before we were putting it out there. We don't pressure ourselves here on this channel to upload every single day for you guys. We rather pressure ourselves to upload once the video is as good as we want it to be. Alright, with that being said, let's take a look at the longswords. We've taken a look at all the longswords in the base game so far. I'm making this video before expansions like Rajang are coming out, so keep that in mind. First of all, Acidic Glavenus Longsword. this one is the best longsword, but it's only recommended for speedruns. It's exactly what I was talking to you guys about before. It just has that little tiny bit of purple sharpness that it's so hard to maintain that even speedrunners are not able to maintain it all the time. But if they don't maintain it, they reset the freaking speedrun and they start over. They start again. That's okay, right? But that's why it's only recommended for speedruns and not for everyday hunts. Hellish Slasher is the next. It works for everything. It works for speedruns, but it's primarily made to use for non-speedruns, for farming, for guiding lands, and the Hellish Slasher is what we recommended you guys in our best longsword build video. The reason why we did that is, it might not be on paper the best longsword in the game, and we know that, but it is that longsword which does not come with any specific element or status, so you can use it first of all against everything, no matter what the weaknesses of the monsters are. On top of that, it comes with so much white sharpness that you can use it comfortably without dropping to blue ever, if you're using Master's Touch, and you don't have to worry about hitting just tenderized parts all the time. And even for early endgame, it is the best, because before you are able to craft all of these other longswords that we're going to talk about now, then this one is able to deal a very solid amount of damage, and you can just use it against everything. And this is why we recommended it. So, but let's talk about Golden Ruffian Longsword next, right? This one, it can be used for speedruns and it can be used for non-speedruns, but only for monsters that are weak to poison. Of course, if you have Ruffian, if you have pink Ruffian and stuff like that, you don't really want to use it because it comes with poison, and it's just, the monsters are just not weak against poison. And also, if you're playing in multiplayer, you don't want to use more than one of these status weapons. If you're using 2 Golden Ruffian Longswords, you're not going to be able to poison the monster twice as much, because the resistances go up every single time the monster is poisoned. So rather than using a second Golden Ruffian or third or fourth Golden Ruffian Longsword for the same hunt, you rather want to go for Hellish Slasher instead if you want the highest DPS, since one poison weapon is enough. The Zora Magdaros is the same thing. It's really good, but first of all, you can only use it against monsters that are weak to blast, and on top of that, this one is again only recommended for speedruns because it comes with such a tiny bit of purple sharpness that it's just too hard to maintain in a real life scenario. Silverathalos, it's only for monsters that are really weak to fire, right? But you can use it if you're speedrunning or if you're not speedrunning. It works for both scenarios. So the next 4 longswords that we're talking about are Nergigante, Namiel, Sonogre, and Velkhana. And these are all longswords that we only recommend for not speedrunning, because in a speedrun scenario, the Acidic Lavinus, or the Golden Ruffian, or the Zora Magdaros are better longswords. But we know that 99.5% of you guys that are watching the video right now are people that are not speedrunning, but you guys just want to do a lot of damage in normal hunts and farming and playing with friends. So these longswords, as soon as you can craft them, give you literally an option to go for every single monster in the game, and you are able to deal a little more damage, just like 1-2% more damage with Nergigante, Namiel, Sonogre, or Velkhana compared to the Hellish Slasher. We know that, but the thing is, if you're doing Guiding Lands, you're doing a Kulu-Yaku, and then after Kulu-Yaku there's an Elder Dragon coming, and you just be like, oh shit, guys, I gotta go back to my base camp every single time I'm doing a new monster to be able to switch the longsword to the specific elemental longsword, just to have that elemental advantage. It's just so much more comfortable to just be like, dude, I have this Hellish Slasher set right now, and I'm gonna be able to use this against literally every single monster in the Guiding Lands, no matter what's coming. I don't have to go back to the base camp all the time, and some of you guys maybe don't want to go back to the base camp all the time, so right, you lose a lot of time doing that too. You farcaster back to camp, you go in the camp, you change your armor, you go back out. It takes a lot of time. So this is why it has its rightful position in the game, the Hellish Slasher, because it is just so good for everything. And of course, if you do want to mix up the game, want to switch the longswords, you know, want a little bit more diversity, but then you need multiple different sets for each element, for Dragon, Water, Thunder, Ice, and Fire, and maybe even a set for the Golden Ruffian one with Poison too. So realistically, you have like 6 different longsword builds, where you have to have probably different charms that you have to level up all the way to the max. You have to craft all of the longswords. It's a lot of effort to get there. And if you just want one longsword that you can use against whatever is coming towards you, whatever you have to hunt, then the Hellish Slasher is, for non-speedruns, for farming, and for playing with friends, the best choice to go for. This is why we have to have that clear separation between weapons that we recommend for speedruns and weapons and sets that we recommend for non-speedruns. And since you guys, the vast majority of you guys watching our content, are not speedrunners, we definitely want to recommend you those sets that you can comfortably use, deal a lot of damage, still make sure you don't have to reset your hunts all the time, and make sure you can get hit a few times. You can hit a non-tenderized body part a few times, right? This is how we want to play. This is how we play the most effective way. And if you are that 0.05% of our viewers that are speedrunning, then watch our speedrun videos and copy the sets that we're using there, but then use that one just for speedruns and not for playing normally. That was a lot of talking. I'm very sorry for those of you guys that are not playing Longsword, but like, to be honest, this specific thing that we just talked about, it applies to most of the weapons in the game. We always have to differentiate between those two sets. So keep in mind, if other YouTubers are recommending you a speedrun set and show you with a calculation that it is the highest DPS build, but they're targeting normal people that are using this or that want to use this build for normal playing and not for speedruns, then this might not be the best build that you want to go for. So Peppo and I, we made this video together for you guys in order to explain you. We do take our time and we think about these things carefully, and this is why we sometimes recommend things that might not seem the strongest on paper. However, if you take a look at everything around it, if you take a look at the big picture, then it might make sense to go for exactly that. Alright guys, I hope you really enjoyed that video. I really don't want to create any drama. You guys can trust us. We have very good speedrunners in the team, and we have a lot of experience in the team. We play the Monster Hunter series for a very long time. Of course, that doesn't mean anything, but I'm just saying, guys, we take our time. We make sure that the videos that we are making are as good as we possibly can. With that being said, you guys can look forward to many cool videos that we have planned on the channel. And until then, I catch you guys on the next one. Peace.